What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Hard Count, your home for everything NFL. I'm Anthony, of course, joined by my wonderful, I hate this inverted thing, my wonderful co-host, TJ, my guy. How we doing?
Hey, all is well, bro. Doing well. Just chilling, man. Glad to be back.
Yes, sir. Gonna shoot out another great episode as per usual. This is kind of what we do. But before we get into everything, of course, I got to thank the sponsors, as we already got Michael over here in the comments. What's going on, my guy? But yeah, we'll shout out the sponsors. So if you're into the betting world, make sure you go over to mybookie.ag and use code USN100 to double your first deposit up to $1,000. Listen, if you want to bet on something, do it over there. In the NFL world, I found this out yesterday. You can bet on the NFL draft. So you know what? Perfect tie-in. I think the over/under on quarterbacks is 5.5. So we know
first round.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
You see, here's my thing too. 5 is guaranteed. It's just that if one more team is gonna, take that weird quarterback in the late first round.
Yeah, I'll probably go under on that.
I think I'd go the over. I think somebody's gonna do something stupid.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. A lot of these teams. It's
different. But yeah, if you want to bet, go over to mybookie.ag and like I said, use our code USN100. It will double your first deposit. Next up, we have Rxhemp. Rxhemp-USN will save you 10% on your order. They got pain relief CBD creams. So, as I always say, if you're a little sore from life, maybe go over and check them out. You'll feel brand new when you wake up in the morning. A lot of our unwrapped brethrens are big fans of the Rxhemp. So go and check them out. And then the Teespring Store, teespring.com/store/unwrapped is the home for all of our merch. Obviously, the network itself has its merch, and then each individual show on the live lineup has merch as well. So if you want to support us and, actually pay some bills for us, go and buy some merch, put a little dinero in the pockets, as you know. We would greatly appreciate it. You never say no to money, CJ.
Nah, never that, man. All the cash, bro.
All the cash. Right. And then finally, our Patreon, patreon.com/unwrappedsports. $1, you're just letting us know you like what we do. $5, you get 10% off that store I was just telling you about. You also get access to our Discord chat, and you get entered into an Amazon gift card giveaway. And then the final tier for that is the $10 tier, where you get everything I just said, except the 10% discount goes to $20. And you also get entered into a signed memorabilia giveaway. This month is actually a Ricky Williams signed miniature helmet.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yes, sir. We posted it in the chat. I don't know if we posted it online yet, but, I'm sure we will soon. But it's looking nice, looking real good. But with that being said, we'll get into what everybody's here for, the NFL world. And we're going to start off with that draft, of course, that is coming up so very soon. And speaking of that draft, by the way, everybody, I hope everyone's ready. Tomorrow is the Usn Mock Draft, our live mock draft. We got a bunch of us playing the GM role. We're going to have a nice commissioner. We got Mel Kiper and Todd McShay, on the live as well, breaking down everything.
That's going to be hilarious.
So, listen, tune in. It is tomorrow. I believe we're starting at 9. So make sure you tune in. Your boy is the GM of the Patriots and the Bills. So make sure you go and check me out, okay? Making big moves. Of course I am. That's all we do. But we'll start with the draft. And the Giants are talking about moving down from 11. I saw this today from Rappaport, I believe it was. And, just a bunch of people talking about them moving down. How do you feel about it? We got Bills Mafia in here. So, hey, listen, I'm going to get the Bills looking right. But what do you think about the Giants trading down?
I understand it. They feel like they could get somebody, depending on who they want to trade with, they feel like that person will still be there, maybe the later teens. Then it's very possible to try to get some more assets either next year or in day 2 or something like that. I think it makes sense. They're kind of in a weird spot. They could go wide receiver, they could go linebacker. Michael Parsons is still there. They could go edge rusher as well. Could take the two guys from Miami. One of the two guys from Miami. They could go corner. So they're in an interesting spot. So they feel like they could get one of those guys with a couple spots down, and then gather some assets to fill out the rest of the roster. I think that'd be a great move for the Giants.
Yeah, they're kind of in a weird spot. Like, because in a way, for me, they definitely need some spots. I would look at the offensive line, but the tackle position is really deep in this draft. I think it's the third best position in the draft. I remember I saw.
Just at wide receiver, I think tackle maybe second or third, and then corner.
Yeah. Like so, and this is a great point right here too. It's a wait and see if one of the quarterbacks drop. Bears or Washington football team might want to move up. There's a lot of teams that I think want to move up. This is one of the drafts where I've seen more movement or heard about more movement than I think I've ever seen before. Like, we've already had the Dolphins trade twice. We've had the 49ers trade up. There's a lot of talk about the Giants, obviously, like we're talking about right now, moving down. I've heard the Patriots want to move up. I've heard the Falcons want to move down. I've heard the Cowboys want to move up. I mean, there is a lot going on. Now, how much of this actually happens, we're going to find out on draft day. But what's
the over-under on draft day trades?
You know what? That's a wonderful question. I'm gonna look it up. But yeah, I think it's smart if the Giants move down, because especially if they're gonna go with the offensive line, I feel like you're probably gonna be able to get somebody at that position for that's still going to be good later in the draft, and then you can of course accumulate more draft picks. So I mean, why not kind of move down and get those? But I mean, it's like we said, it's kind of up to them. It's going to be interesting though.
Yeah, O-line definitely something that they should be looking at as well. Look at Darisaw, look at Tucker, 2 tackles. Slater might be gone at 11. Obviously, Penesu, projected to be a top 6 pick, so he'll probably be out of there. But Darisaw and Tucker tackle from USC, so those could potentially be 2 guys. They could have one of those guys opposite of Andre Thomas. I think it'd be perfect for them. Saquon coming back, run game, got to protect Daniel Jones. Yeah, I mean, I think the Giants are moving in the right direction, man. Either way.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. I'm kind of curious what you think about this. I saw something, and I think that they're just trying to project like a starting lineup, and a lot of people have fun doing that. But if the Giants stay there and draft Devonta Smith, now, do I hate it? No, but this is kind of like a Bengals situation in my eyes, where it's your draft, because I've seen a lot of people say, oh, maybe the Bengals are going to draft Jamar Chase. Like, first of all, if they do, immediately arrest the GM and head coach for attempted manslaughter, by the way, but just saying. But the Giants have Galladay now. They have Darius Slayton. They have Sterling Shepard. Evan Ingram's still there. They signed Kyle Rudolph. That's not a position. That's not a position you need. So I've heard some people say, yo, maybe they should draft Smith. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like they should go more towards need as opposed to best available in their situation. I think they have some other holes. They got they found a gem and Bradbury. They gave him the money. A lot of people didn't know whether or not he could be that number 1 guy at DB. Ended up being a great pickup for New York. They got a guy on the front line, Leonard Williams. They extended him. So, I mean, I feel like wide receiver is something, like you said, they already have a plenty of. Could Galladay, Shepard, those guys have had injury concerns over the last couple seasons. So, it's really interesting. Like I said, they're in a good spot. They could potentially have a guy drop, like you said, or they can move back and try to get some assets later on in the draft. So, I don't think wide receiver would be the best fit for them, just because they already have a multitude of weapons. I think they should probably go either on that front, on the offensive line, or somewhere on the defense.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Oh, with that being said, though, we'll move it on and sticking with the draft. Number 3 spot is in a weird way where the draft starts with me because I think everything is locked down with the 1 and 2. Like, I don't think anybody's going to be surprised when Lawrence goes 1 and Zach Wilson goes 2. But with that being said, the 3 spot kind of up in the air for a lot of people. Even yesterday I was talking to Josh, on my other show, Generational Sports, and he's a firm believer that they're going Justin Fields. And I was like, bro, listen, I'm just gonna report what I've been hearing, and everybody's saying they're taking Mac Jones. So, I mean, that one's still kind of up in the air as well. Who do you think that the 49ers are drafting in that 3rd spot? And before you do answer, I'm on my bookie right now looking. They got Mac Jones at -110. He's the favorite. Trey Lance plus 200, and then Justin Fields plus 100. So even my bookie's thinking Mac Jones as well. What you think?
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky because Shanahan has been able to coach quarterbacks with different type of styles. You look at RG3, his rookie season, and then you look at Matt Ryan, his MVP season. Both of those guys had accolades in the season that they had Kyle Shanahan coaching them. So I just look at the NFC West and I look at the quarterbacks already there, and most of those guys are really mobile. I think Stafford is very mobile. His mobility is very underrated. He can move out the pocket and make some plays. I think we'll see a lot of that from the Rams this upcoming season. Obviously, Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray, two of the most mobile QBs we have in the league today. So I think they might want to complete that trend and keep that trend going in that division. They could go with a guy like Fields. I think that'd be a great spot for him. Honestly, for any of the quarterbacks, I think they'd probably be in the best position out of the top 3 guys. In terms of those top 3 picks, probably best coach as well. So I would say Fields. I think they go with Fields. Trey Lance is, obviously, the conversation started to heat up. He just had his second pro day yesterday. So, those conversations and the 49ers were there. So they're starting to heat up. I would say they go with Fields, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go Lance as well. I think he has a lot of upside. I think in the right system, put the right pieces around him. Maybe not next year, maybe not this year coming up, but next year we could see him in his full potential. So. And I think Fields has a lot of upside as well. Mac Jones, a lot of people are saying he doesn't have, as you say, he's kind of capped in terms of his potential. That's tough to say because he's only started in 17 games or so.
Yeah.
So it's like
he's kind of a Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of Trubisky comp in terms of the inexperience. But again, Burrow was also inexperienced as well. So it's just a tricky situation. I like Mac Jones. I think he'd be a great fit with a team like New England as well. Could sit for a year, learn the system. I think he could potentially fall, might have a chip on his shoulder, and really play well. But for the 49ers, I could see them going Fields, continuing that trend of mobile QBs in that NFC West division.
When I look at it, I think that makes sense. Fields or Lance, because I think having somebody like Kyle Shanahan just feels like a mobile quarterback kind of guy. Like I feel like he can really let loose when that happens. He can put in different packages and things like that for a mobile quarterback. Where with Jimmy, it's kind of like you can run somewhat,
right?
But I don't know, like. And if it doesn't end up this way, a lot of people are going to look dumb, including me, I guess. But I just feel like Mac Jones is going to get picked here. I feel like there's too much chatter about it. I feel like there's, too much smoke for there not to be a fire when it comes to that. And like I said, and like we've said all the time, I'm not a college guy, so my scouting opinion on them is kind of based on what other people tell me that are smarter than me. And, I have heard that a lot, that he's capped out now and this, that. But, I mean, a lot of people said that Joe Burrow was capped out at LSU and that he wasn't going to improve much as well. Last year, he came in his rookie year. Before he tore his ACL, he was looking real good. Like, on a Bengals team that was doing absolutely nothing for him. So do you take Jones there at number 3? And even though I've heard a lot too that he's probably the most ready to play right away, still sit him behind Jimmy, who has sat behind Tom Brady, who has gotten to a Super Bowl, no matter how much you want to, put the success of that team on Jimmy instead of the defense in that. But do you put him behind Jimmy? And then I hate to say this as well, but Jimmy's good to miss like 2 games a year at least.
More, man.
That's what I'm saying. 2 at least. So
least.
He's good to miss a few games a year. So do you put him behind Jimmy and then you let him learn, and then if Jimmy does bad or he gets hurt, you can pull the whole Tom Brady, you lost your starting job, you're not, type of thing. I don't know. And that's the other thing. I know everybody's so caught up in that he's not going to go to the 49ers because they've said that we're not trading Jimmy. The Jets said they weren't trading Sam Darnold either. Like no team, I feel like no team ever comes out and is like, you know what, we're absolutely trading our starting quarterback and we're drafting another one. Like it doesn't really happen. Like even when the Cardinals drafted Kyler Murray and Josh Rosen was still there, like a lot of people didn't think it was going to happen until his name was announced. And me being one of them, I was like, there's no way they're going quarterback 2 years in a row. Like they just got Josh Rosen, and then next thing you know, it's the Kyler Murray show. So I wouldn't be too caught up in the whole we're not trading him thing, because that's just a good way to say save yourself.
Yeah, definitely. If the right deal is there, they're definitely going to make the move, especially because it's so obvious that they're going to go quarterback with the 3rd pick. So, how does Garoppolo feel about that? They might give him an opportunity to look at some teams coming up. So maybe not this year, but next year. And there's some teams right there. Washington still, Chicago obviously. It's always been a factor for the last few years or so. That definitely need a quarterback. So if something is available, San Fran's definitely going to be looking at that. They're not just going to be like, oh, we're going to keep Jimmy and have this guy, because you also don't want to have some dysfunction in that quarterback room come when they're in training camp.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want that Carson Wentz.
That's always my go-to.
Yeah.
I feel like Carson Wentz was all high and mighty, then they, put a statue of his backup quarterback out front in the stadium that he has to walk past every time he comes to a home game, and then they get rid of him, but they draft a quarterback in the next round. So, Eagles, you're killing me here. You ruined my MVP Carson Wentz season, okay?
That was
Carson Wentz for MVP till I die, okay? I'm sticking with it. It's going to happen. But speaking of quarterbacks, once again, that the Jaguars are certainly going to have to hope it turns into an MVP. Trevor Lawrence. Now, I talked about this yesterday as well with Josh, and I think it's kind of stupid. But I like hearing other people's opinions on it. So, Trevor Lawrence, Sports Illustrated does interviews with like all the big people in the draft every year, this, that, whatever. And, some of the comments came out, and people are kind of, iffy about it. I believe his high school coach said he could walk away from this and he would be fine. His dad said, or it was his dad or his sister, something like that. I think it was his dad.
Yeah,
said that he doesn't. Yeah, said he doesn't need football to be happy. Trevor Lawrence himself said, like, I think it's unhealthy to like always be having someone like having a chip on your shoulder and this, that, and the third. And, people are, of course, spinning it into, oh, he doesn't care about football as much. And I don't know. I think it's dumb. Like, people are motivated by different things. Like, Tom Brady is motivated because he was a 6th-round quarterback. And he's never going to let it go, ever. Right. Russell Wilson motivated because he just wants to be the best. Aaron Rodgers because he was passed up by San Francisco. And then, there are people in this world, by the way, guys, that are just internally motivated, that just want to be good because that's what they do. They don't have to show their emotion about everything. So I think it's dumb. And then after your response, I actually want to read off what Trevor Lawrence said in response to it as well. So let me hear your thoughts, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the media. It's just the media again. We've been bashing the media a lot, even though we're, quote-unquote, in the media, I guess. That's what they want, right? If you say something that doesn't fall on the lines that they, think every NFL player should say or athlete should say, then you get criticized. If you think for yourself, it's like a whole. It's a big thing. At the end of the day, he said he was self motivated. That's fine. Everybody's different. Everybody's love for the game comes in different ways. He's been successful in football his entire life up until this point. He's going to be a number one draft pick. So if he didn't love the game, he wouldn't, he wouldn't have the type of success that he's having now. He wouldn't put all the work that he's put in.
See, and that's my other thing too. Like people's counter argument to that is that he's just been naturally gifted.
It's a lot of naturally gifted people out here
that's what I'm saying. And that like he's naturally gifted, so that carried him through high school and it carried him through college. But when he gets to the NFL, there's going to be people that are just as good as him, so that doesn't work. You're going to have to put the effort in, and people think that he's not going to want to. And I don't know, bro.
Like again, like I said, if he wasn't internally motivated, he wouldn't be where he's at today. It's a bunch of naturally gifted players, athletes that have come across all different types of sports that just haven't even reached their potential or made it because internally they haven't put the work in. For Brady's situation, Brady was sharing snaps with another starter at Michigan. Like it was just it was different. Nothing was given to him, so he had to work for it. In his situation, all these guys still have to work for it, but it just comes in different ways. That's the beauty of the NFL. Everyone has a different story. If everybody was the same, it wouldn't be entertaining to watch. If everybody was the same type of player, robotic athlete, we wouldn't be drawn to the storylines and the type of people that they are when they're on the field. So, yeah, like I said, it's just they're looking for something to talk about. I don't see it as a big deal. At the end of the day, what matters is what his teammates think about him. If you listen to his teammates, everybody's been giving him a lot of high praise. His coaches, that's what matters at the end of the day. And I know these NFL teams, the Jaguars, because it's really not the Jaguars.
You see, he already thanked the Jaguars.
Yeah. I think he sent like $20,000 in charity.
He said, "Thank you, Jaguars fans. Really appreciate the wedding gifts and donations for charities of our choice. In addition to the donation, Marissa and I will be donating $20,000 to charities in Jacksonville. Thanks again. We hope to be a part of your community soon."
Yeah, it's in stone. It's in stone.
No, absolutely. I just find it so funny that like even before, it's so set in stone that he's already like, yeah. He probably already got a credit.
Fans know, I'm sure, and the fans know it too, obviously. So, I'm not buying into the media stuff, man. Sometimes these articles, they take these quotes that some of these athletes say, they take it out of context to create the story. They've been doing this for decades. Matt, what's good, bro? How you doing, man? They've been doing this. They've been doing this for decades. So this is how a lot of these guys make their money: is creating drama and hyperbolic quotes, and taking things out of context to get their story, get their article plastered on the national sports media stage. So that's why a lot of athletes don't like talking to the media, because they don't feel like they could trust them. Anything they say, it gets misconstrued. It gets messed up. Oh yeah, but yeah. I totally forgot about that. I don't know how real it is.
I didn't hear about it until I went on YouTube and I saw Pat McAfee had a video about it. I didn't watch it, but what is it? You know what it is? I'm sure Matt knows.
They said it was like from the Patriots, and like if they were going to take Love right before the Packers took him. So
they're not trying to trade for him right now?
No, I think that was last year. I think that was last year's draft.
As much as I would love for it to happen, there's no way the Patriots would accept that trade. Man, what was the trade? Yeah, let me know what that trade was. But, with Trevor Lawrence, I just, like I said, I wanted to, read what he said on Twitter. He said, "It seems as if people are misreading my sentiment. I'm internally motivated. I love football as much or more than anyone. It is a huge priority in my life. Obviously, I am driven to be the best I can be and to maximize my potential and to win. I have a lot of confidence in my work ethic, and I love to grind and chase my goals. You can ask anyone who has been in my life. That being said, I am secure in who I am and what I believe. I don't need football to make me feel worthy as a person, and I purely love the game. and everything that comes with it, the work, the team, the ups and downs. I'm a firm believer in the fact that there is a plan for my life, and I'm called to be the best I can be at whatever I'm doing. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, I mean, it's facts. A lot of people sometimes football is like therapeutic for them. I mean, a lot of them need the game, and then when they're outside of the game, you see a lot of guys get in trouble, have different type of situations go about, and when they don't have that football, when they don't have that structure, that discipline, every single day, a lot of these guys slip up. He's saying, he doesn't need it from that standpoint. He loves the game. He wants to work at the game. He wants to be the best he could be, and like I said, man, it's just trying to fill up a news cycle, man.
Like, this is a perfect example of like, I work because I love my job. Like, if anybody else like in another position was like, I'm not really motivated to do this, but I just love what I do, blah blah blah. Like, I don't need to create like I got to prove my parents wrong type of thing. Like, we'd be like, oh, good for you. Like, you found a job you love. But this is like, oh, he doesn't like football. But let's go to Matt. He said it was the Packers trade, the 29th and a 4th round pick, and Jordan Love, obviously, for the Patriots 15th.
Nah.
That's an immediate no from you?
I'm going to say nah, bro. I mean, if Love turns out to be a young GOAT, then okay. But 29 to drop 14 spots down, get a guy that you don't know. We don't know how much tape, how much film that the Patriots have looked at Love. We didn't see a preseason last year, so we don't know what he looks like. So, I mean, I wouldn't drop. If we were maybe in like 20 something, then maybe we could drop from maybe like 20 or 19 or something like that. But nah.
Yeah, I do think that's a big thing, dropping 14 spots. Because like 15, you're getting solid. Like 15, when was the last time the Patriots picked 15?
That's what I'm saying. You're gonna get something. You're gonna get something. There's gonna be a solid prospect there at 15 in any position. It could be wide receiver, it could be corner, D line.
And see, here's the other thing too. I know that it comes with Jordan Love is obviously quarterback, but like I said, I've heard the Patriots might want to trade up to get a quarterback. Like, bro, it's crazy. Like, a lot of these mock drafts, like McShay and everything like that, have the Patriots trading up to like 4th.
Nobody knows what Belichick is doing, bro.
Oh no, nobody knows. But like
that's the most close knit to the vest type.
Oh
of
yeah.
Guy. Maybe these other teams, they might give a little hint to these, Schefter and Rappaport, but come on, Belichick. Belichick joked to the reporter last week. He was like, "How you doing?" He's like, "Good," because nobody cares. Like, yeah, he's not talking to any reporter about anything he's doing in the draft. Like, he'll talk to his dog before he talks to these guys, bro.
Nah, facts. The only person that can leak Belichick's draft board is the dog, and
yeah, it's clip, bro. You're not hearing it
unless it's the movie Up. I don't think dogs are talking right now, but
yeah, bro.
We'll move on from there into some news that I think most people saw coming with Alex Smith retiring. Just what's your reaction to it? And, maybe what do you think of his career and everything that he went through, obviously.
Yeah, just a true testament of what happens when you get structure as a quarterback. His first couple years in San Fran, people were calling him a bust. It was cliff for him. He was getting that bust label, especially after everybody's looking at how Rodgers was dominating after sitting on the bench for 3 years and then replacing Favre. And it was like, oh, they should have. And I was one of them. I was young. I was like, oh, man, look at this guy, bro. They should have went with Rodgers. 49ers should have took him. But then they got Jim Harbaugh. And then they got Trent Baalke for a little bit, but he was solid, being the GM of the 49ers. And they had some structure. They bought a scheme that fit him, run game. They had the talent. They just needed that guy. And then Harbaugh ended up being the right piece for them. Then he goes to Andy Reid and plays well, winning, averaging 10 wins a season, playing and being on the Chiefs, getting his opportunity there. So before ultimately Mahomes gets the call up. So I think he really made a name for himself, and then him getting hurt in Washington and coming back, and just playing and even there, Ron Rivera, excellent head coach of the year. So it's just he to me he's a testament of what a quarterback when you get structure around the quarterback, how it could benefit them. He was never a top 10 guy. He was never one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but he was very underrated in terms of his mobility. He could run. That San Fran game against I think I want to say New Orleans. I was in Candlestick. I think it might have been that last year in Candlestick when Vernon Davis made the catch.
Yes.
Yeah. Vernon Davis made that catch. That was a great game. He was clutch, made some big time plays, had a big time run up the sideline. They were showing that all over the NFL Network and on the NFL page. He made some big plays, even on the Chiefs. He made some big time plays as well. So a couple games against the Patriots, season opener a couple years ago. Yeah, him and Tyreek went crazy that game. So he's been solid. He's had his moments. I think he had a great career. I think he can't be disappointed at all. I'm sure he's not. And then obviously overcoming the adversity of potentially losing his leg, and
he almost died.
Yeah, exactly. Almost losing his life, like you said. That 30 for 30. Well, I think it might have been the E60. Was great.
Project 11.
Project 11, right? Yeah. So that was a great story to see him overcome that, come back player of the year. It's that's kind of like it's not winning the Super Bowl riding off in the sunset, but it's definitely something for him for that to be the last moment of his career, winning comeback player of the year, and helping Washington get in the playoffs. I think they were 4-1, 5-1 when he was starting. So it's really good career for him, and maybe he might do some coaching here in the future.
See, that was my thing too. I said this yesterday that I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I can see the retirement coming because I'm sure he wants to actually play and be a starter. But I'm kind of surprised nobody gave him a backup contract. And then again, I don't know if the retirement is because he just wanted to or because he had no interest. But I definitely, yeah, I definitely see the coaching route. And like you said, did his career pan out in the number one draft pick, type of way that I'm sure San Francisco wanted to? No. He didn't win a Super Bowl with them. I mean, they made the playoffs a couple times, but it wasn't, that hope you have when you draft a quarterback number one. But I mean, what he overcame with the leg injury and in a weird way, I'm trying to think how to word this. In a weird way, it's it's weird that it's good, not good. I don't know. I'll just say it's good that it happened because I didn't want Alex Smith to be known as the guy who was, there before. He was on the 49ers, and he was stopping them from being, the best that they could have been is what people thought. And then he goes to the Chiefs and then, he's in the way. Bridge. Yeah, he really was the super bridge. He's the Golden Gate out here.
Yeah, facts.
And he was the one stopping Patrick Mahomes for that 1 year. I'd never wanted that to be the narrative from Alex Smith because in a weird way, and I mean it's just because he's a nice dude. I always kind of rooted for him. Even when he was on the Chiefs torching the Patriots, the losses annoyed me as a Patriots fan, but I was always okay. I guess, it's understandable. That's the other one too, check down Smith. Hey, listen, people say check down Brady too. He's the GOAT. So, I mean, I guess he can live with it. And that's the other thing too. I think he is a person that really took the game manager tag and said, all right, you think it's a bad thing? I'm going to be a game manager and put up 12 wins a year, 13 wins a year on the Chiefs. Sometimes a game manager really isn't the worst thing. You always knew what you were getting with Alex Smith.
He helped put the Chiefs on the map before Mahomes got there. I mean, they were kind of the laughing stock of the league for a minute. They had Castle and that didn't work out. They struggled trying to find a quarterback for a minute. So and then they got him and Andy Reid, and they figured it out. Started winning 10 games a season. I completely agree.
But, obviously the thing that he's going to be known for now is that leg injury, overcoming it. And It is such a good story. I haven't watched that E60. I just didn't watch it when it came out. I kind of forgot about it. I've been trying to find it, online places.
Yeah, it's right. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube somewhere. If you got ESPN Plus, they got it. It's already there.
So I gotta actually check it out because I am really interested in it. And I mean, it's such a crazy story. Like we said, he gets injured, and as weird as it sounds, like you break your leg, and it's kind of like, okay, like that's a terrible injury, but whatever. He'll put a cast on it. He'll be back next season. And it never came out that like he was that sick. Like when it was all happening, everybody was like, "Oh, I wonder what's taking so long." This, that, and then like a year later, all of a sudden you hear, "Oh yeah, they thought about cutting my leg off," and they were like, and you were like, "Wow, that's terrible." And then like that's where you think it stops, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah, I was really gonna die," and it's like, I was like, Jesus, like what happened? Yeah. So it's such a great story. Obviously, I'm glad that he got to come back. Experience that last little bit of NFL play. That wasn't his moment where he left and never got to come back. So I'm glad that happened for him. Great career, and in a way, I'm happy it's over because, I mean, even though the story was great, every time he got tackled after that injury, I cringed a little bit for him. I mean, I don't know if you remember the picture of when he did get put into the game of his wife and his kids. Like the kids are all happy, and his wife literally looks petrified.
Yeah, man.
And I mean, can you blame her?
Yeah,
she just sat next to her husband, who almost died. In physical therapy, all this, got that crazy leg, like cast on, and now he's in a game. Like I'd be a little terrified too. But
of course.
Shout out Alex Smith. Great career. Hats off. And if they don't name the Comeback Player of the Year award after him, I have no idea what the NFL's doing. But
I can see that. I can see them doing that.
Yeah. I want to see what Matt said right here. A little Ochabi Mel Kiper. What do you believe will be the biggest thing that will happen in the mock draft tomorrow?
Who's Mel Kiper? Are you going to be Mel?
Oh, no, I'm not Mel.
Oh.
I'm Patriots and Bills GM, and that's about it.
What was it? For USN draft? Mock draft?
Oh, yeah. Big old USN mock draft.
So what's the biggest
I think somebody's going to do some crazy trade. Because, I mean, I remember seeing it last year. I wasn't part of the network yet, but I remember seeing the mock draft last year, and there was like 65 trades. I mean, nobody's hit up.
Yeah, I think like the Colts.
Nobody's hit up GM Connie
yet. Pick or something like that.
Nobody's hit up GM Connie yet to see if I want to trade my picks. But, I'm always taking calls.
That love pick, man.
Nah, I'm not Mel Kiper. No. I think Caleb is. I believe Caleb is Mel Kiper.
Nice.
And then we got somebody from the Rum Boys playing the Todd McShay role. And Perry is actually our commissioner.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say, but yeah, my phone's open, people. A little Patriot, a little Bill. I already got my picks that I'm hoping for. So,
I'll be tuned in. Check you guys out, man. See what's up.
We love that support. I need the comment section going crazy. But we'll move on from there. And I literally didn't even know this until you like put it on the rundown and everything, that Mike Tomlin got an extension. I did not know that. 3-year extension. I guess it makes sense. Like, I think, what is it, in the Mike Tomlin era, they've never had like a losing record or something like that.
That's right.
So, I mean, how do you not extend somebody like that? I mean, it just makes a lot of sense. There's, kind of the up and down thing of how good of a coach he really is because, they underperformed in the playoffs all those years with Big Ben and AB and Le'Veon. But, I mean, you ran into the Patriots a couple times. What was that?
Jacksonville.
Yeah, like Jacksonville just came out of nowhere with like one of the best defenses ever and then, fell off the face of the planet. But, it makes sense for them. He's a good coach, probably one of the better ones in the league. Player-friendly coach, which seems to be like, the very popular thing these days. So kind of makes sense, not surprised, but what do you think about it?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the big question is who's going to be that next quarterback after Big Ben. That's gonna be the biggest test for him, and that'll probably decide whether he'll exceed that 3-year extension or cap it and be able to get another one in a couple years or so. Because again, the Steelers, they had a couple moments before Big Ben where it was rough, but they still managed to still be Bill Cowher days. They still managed to be really competitive. Still, I think they went to a Super Bowl one time as well, and lost.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that's
had 3 head coaches since like 1960.
Right, exactly. So that's their tradition over there in Pittsburgh, which is fine. Like you said, he's a player's coach. All the players gravitate towards him. So I think schematically, game management at times could be a question. He does sometimes. He may get outclassed by some of the better guys, but he's still one of the best in the league. So you got to keep him. If he was on the street, I think so many other teams would be.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of teams would fire their coach and be like, "Listen, sorry, buddy."
Exactly. So, I think it was a smart move, but I am interested to see what they do in the draft. It could go quarterback. I mean, they did get Haskins, but I mean, it's really tough to tell what he'll become or what he'll be until maybe those preseason games or something like that. But they could potentially get Kellen Mond or Kyle Trask in day 2. To hopefully maybe one of those guys to succeed Big Ben when he hangs it up. So smart move by Pittsburgh. I mean, it's something that they're used to doing. I could see him coaching there for another 10 years. He's still kind of young too. I think he's like 50, still in like his early 50s. So he could still be coaching there for a while as long as they get that guy after Big Ben.
Yeah, and that's my only thing that and you brought it up that kind of takes away from him is the game planning. Like you said, I think he gets outclassed by some of the better coaches in the league, and I feel like the Steelers are one of those teams as well that never make a halftime adjustment. And that goes to the game planning thing and everything like that. But that's a really bad look that you don't adjust ever. I mean, I think we're spoiled though. We're a Patriots fan. All of a sudden, the Patriots will do one thing in the first half. Belichick will go in and say, all right, well, maybe, we'll try something else. And then they look completely different. No, it should be. It really should be. But it
just speaks to the stubbornness of the coaches at times.
It's a big ego thing, too. Big ego thing. They want to think that their original game plan is the best thing ever. But, Tomlin's a good coach, like you said. If he was on the street, I mean, I think 80% of the league is firing their coach and saying we found somebody else. But with that being said, we're going to go into our previews of the other few teams in the league. I'm going to pass the baton over to you, CJ. You'll take it on home.
Yeah, so last week we talked with Garrett. Shout out to Garrett from Iowa, guy from USN fan. We broke down the Bengals and the Browns in the AFC North division. Now we're going to just finish up the division, go over the Steelers and the Ravens. It's perfect transition. Just talked about Mike Tomlin. We're going to talk about the Steelers, talk about their talk about what we thought about last season. What was your thoughts? Big Ben's last ride, is this it? He's kind of flirted with the possibility of retirement over the last 3 years or so. Could this be the year? What do they do at the running back position? Could they go in the draft? Really didn't make any big moves in free agency. We know Connor went to the Cardinals, I believe.
Yep.
So what they're going to do at that position, we've seen, they've been known for having, great running backs, Le'Veon, Jerome Bettis, and Rashad Mendenhall, Willie Parker. So the list goes on and on in Pittsburgh. And what's next for that position? Juju, can he make that big step? Still very young and really showing that he's a number one guy and potentially getting the big bag next year as he hits free agency. And what the defense is going to look like, they lost Bud Dupree to Tennessee, one of their premier pass rushers. Still have TJ Watt, excellent guy on the edge. Cam Hayward and Minka Fitzpatrick out there in the secondary. So you think what their defense is going to look like? Talked about Juju. What's your thoughts on Claypool? Is he going to have that breakout season? He showed flashes earlier in the season. Kind of had a little rookie slump in the back half, but definitely looked like a guy who has all the ability to potentially be a true number one over there and a true X for Pittsburgh. And then our way too early record prediction for Pittsburgh in April.
Hey, listen, it's never too early. Never too early. But yeah, well, obviously start from the top. I think last year was really weird. Like, in a way, we kind of thought they were good, but we weren't sure how good they were because the schedule was really weak. But then, of course, you get the people that are like, listen, you can only play the people they put in front of you, and that is very true. Like, you can literally only play the people that you're supposed to. So what are they supposed to do? Say no? Or forfeit the game and not have an undefeated record. So I believe they were like 11-0 at one point before they finally lost that first game to who was it?
I think it might have been Washington.
Was it Washington? Yeah. Then they stumbled. They lost to the Bengals as well. Obviously, the Joe Burrow-less Bengals as well, which makes it even worse. But yeah. It was a weird season. You got to see how they, bounce back from it. And that's one thing that I'm definitely with Matt on here, as he says, this is definitely his last ride. There's no way Ben comes back. This has to be it. Especially with the way he looked in that playoff game. That was real tough to watch. That was hard to watch. And like you said, he's flirted with, I feel like every year we've had the conversation of, is this Big Ben's last ride? This, that. Like, it's been his last ride for years now. So I think that this is finally his last trip around the NFL. I don't know if he'll ever make it like a definite thing. I think he kind of just wants to keep it low key in a way. But yeah, if I had to guess, I'm saying it's his last ride. Between the surgery and I just think, is it weird that I kind of think that and let me finish the statement before anybody kills me, is in the Shaq role where like he was good but never tried. So like he never got the full potential. Because like, I mean, you heard it all the time. Like Kobe used to say, like, yeah, if Shaq actually cared, we would have had 9 rings. Like, I feel like if Big Ben every offseason didn't go on like a bender of beer and burgers and then look homeless by the time the training camp rolled around and like was just more into it, that they would have been a lot better. Like, I don't know if that's crazy, but whatever.
It's definitely a fair statement. I mean, a lot of people have said that. I mean, he's called Big Ben for a reason. Yeah, go ahead.
What was next? Juju, right?
The running back position, what they're gonna do there, and then Juju, right?
Yeah, see, Matt agrees with me here. He would have had at least 3 or 4 rings. I think it's possible. I really do. He was kind of he's kind of a gunslinger as well, though. Didn't really care about the interception numbers. It always seemed like. But yeah, the running back position, I like this one as well. Matt saying it again. Wouldn't be surprised if they drafted Harris or Etienne. I don't hate that as well. Like you said, they're always known for their running backs. It's always kind of like a big thing for them. I wouldn't be surprised if they went O-line as well. I know the Pouncey twins retired. So that obviously leaves a hole at center, at least for them. But I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go in the draft. It's interesting for them. Do they want to try to replace Dupree? Do they want to go O-line? Do they want to, try to get that running back? Because, they still have Benny Snell over there who looked pretty solid filling in for James Conner those few games. They have some other guys over there as well that can play the position pretty well. But, I mean, definitely not anything that's on, the Le'Veon Bell level of when he was on the Steelers. And even that first year of James Conner, the year that Bell sat out, like a lot of people forgot how good James Conner really was. And then obviously kind of tapered off from there. But I think that also went with the O-line getting worse as well. So, I can't give a definite. If I had to put money on it, I think that I don't think they draft a running back. And if they do, I don't think it's the first round at least. I think that if they do, it's probably, in the second and the third round type of thing. But I don't think they're going to put a first round pick on a running back. It's such a weird position. Like we say it all the time that, even the best ones are around for, 6-7 years and then they fall off the planet. And by then and then all the time you see people getting drafted in the 4th, 5th, 6th round becoming great running backs and stuff like that. So it's a weird position. And then moving on to Corvette himself, Juju Smith-Schuster, as Matt said. I don't know. I don't know if it's too early, but I think I've given up on him being that star number one guy. We obviously saw how good he could be, but he had AB on the other side of him, and I hate to break it to everybody, he wasn't getting that much attention when AB was, in his prime, basically still, just absolutely torching everybody constantly. So, ever since AB left, it's kind of been downhill from there. And it's weird because they have like a nice receiving core. They have him, Johnson, they have Chase Claypool, I'll talk about after this, but I think Juju's just a really good number 2 wide receiver. And even I think everybody on that team it's weird to have had like a lot of drop problems, especially Claypool. Claypool, it seemed like dropped a pass a game. So, it's kind of tough for them, but we'll see what Juju can do this upcoming season. Obviously, if he can bounce back, like you said, I know last year was technically a contract year, but now knowing for a fact, because I think they could have picked up his option. So, like, maybe it wasn't a contract year in his head. But knowing for a fact he's on, a 1-year deal or whatever, blah, blah, that, hey, I got to go out and show everybody what's good. So maybe he comes out and plays with that chip on his shoulder of trying to prove some people wrong and goes crazy this year. So, I mean, if you're the Steelers, you obviously hope for the best for that. And then you got to hope the same for Claypool. Like I said, he had a lot of drop problems last year. He got to hit the jugs machine a little bit more apparently, but he's still a pretty good wide receiver. I like him, but their core is like not bad. And I think obviously they're gonna have to figure out the quarterback position after Ben leaves. But I like Claypool. I like Juju. You got to see what they do with the running back position. But I think that they're going to be all right. A record prediction. I want to say like an 11-6 type of thing. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a 10-7. What?
Got them winning the division?
Oh no. I got Browns. I think I had the Browns at like 13-4.
Oh, you did say 13.
I think I had 13-4. I think the Ravens will be better than them as well, but I still think that they can win a few games. I think I lean more towards the 10-6 spot than 11-5, or 10-7.
Yep.
Yeah, 10. God, is that going to annoy me? The 10-7 spot, because I think that the Bengals can sneak out a win. Because I think that they're going to be very improved. I think that those Browns games are going to be obviously very tough. The Ravens ones are always tough. And then, they're going to have to play some good teams in other divisions as well. So, maybe a nice 10-7 type of situation. So they sneak into a wild card spot maybe and send Ben off happy.
It's gonna be an interesting season for the Steelers. In my opinion, last year, like you said, they went 11-0, and then I believe they won 2 of their last 5, excuse me, in the end of the season, and then they struggled. And then they struggled in that playoff game. Looked bad. Big Ben had to do everything, and if he's the hero, it's not going to be. If he has to play hero ball, 9 times out of 10, he's going to turn the ball over. That's just in his nature. Like you say, he's a gunslinger. When they've had success, when they've gone to the Super Bowl and actually won the Super Bowl, they had a run game, great defense, and it could kind of take away some of and he could kind of still do his magic, get out the pocket and do things like that. I think now, him being older, it's even more imperative for them to get that run game together, find the right guy to be that bell cow for the next 5-6 years. Could be Najee Harris, like Matt said, or Travis Etienne out of Clemson. Could be somebody else in day 2, but I think they have to get that guy, man. I mean, because it just you can't have Ben throwing the ball 50 times, because if he's throwing the ball 50 times,
something went wrong.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be a 2 to 3 pick interception game, 3 pick game for him. So you want to minimize the turnovers as possible, especially in those close knit type games in this division. So that's very key. I think it's his last ride. It's definitely his last season. I mean, unless he comes out and throws for like 4,500 yards or something like that, and has like 37 touchdowns, 10 picks, may want to maybe play one more season. I think he's 37, if I'm not mistaken. So we've seen guys go into their 40s, late 30s, and have some success. So if he does play at a higher level, it might entice him to stay for one more season, or he might get an extension, maybe for a year or two. But if not, and if he's kind of just kind of playing okay, not playing to the level that he probably thinks he should be playing at, he'll probably call it quits and hang it up. Thoughts on Juju? Yeah, I think he kind of bet on himself in this offseason. We talked about this a little bit last month and during free agency. Obviously has some offers from Kansas City and Baltimore to potentially go there and have an impact on their squads. But he decided to stay in Pittsburgh. Probably feel like he had a lot to prove. He didn't have a terrible season. Almost had 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. So that's really like number 2 wide receiver stats. And I think this year he wants to prove that he could be that guy going forward, and so he could potentially get that top 10 wide receiver money, top 5 wide receiver money. He has the ability. Definitely has the ability. He's a strong wide receiver, 6'2", like 210. So he has the size and the measurables. Definitely make big time catches. Tough guy. Third down. I think it's going to be an important year for him. So I think he's gonna have definitely a really good season, probably around the numbers that he had last year, if not a little bit better. And I think it'll definitely again depend on that run game. If the run game is there, that play action, it'll definitely open up some things for him on the one-on-ones on the outside for him able to make some plays down the field. Ben's going to give them to him. He's probably trusts him more than any of those other guys that they have in that wide receiver class. So looking for Juju to show out, and also like just be a little bit more mature a little bit too. Doing the dances on the dances in the middle of the field pregame. Still be yourself, but then it's just some things like that may just not be the right thing to do, especially going up against the defensive guys. Bro, I mean, I know they don't got
cracked.
I know they don't hit
one game.
Yeah, I know they don't hit like they used to. I was watching the Troy Polamalu highlight tape. I think it was his birthday yesterday or something like that. I know they don't hit like they used to, but
hey, I don't think Juju agrees with that after that Bengals game.
If they want to get a shot in, they will. They definitely will. And I guarantee you, those DBs and them linebackers are, looking before. It's bulletin board material for them before every Sunday during that week. So you don't want to be a target like that. That's not how you want to go into the game. You want to be someone that they fear. They fear, like, yo, bro, like we gotta be on our P's and Q's. If not, he's gonna torture us. Not, yo, let's go crack him real fast because he wants to go. Because I mean, he's trying to
bad enough when somebody not trying to kill you.
Yeah, facts. I mean, he's trying to do that. T.O. I mean, T.O. did it the first time.
Hall of Famer.
The first time T.O. did it, it was cool. And then the second time, the DB came and rocked him. So it was like they don't play that. They don't play that. So hopefully he just changes it up a little bit. Touchdown celebrations is cool. It's cool, but maybe the halftime, he was trying to do a little bit too much right there. The defense, I still believe in their defense. They've always found guys to compensate. And they lost Lamar Woodley, James Harrison, James Ferrier, Larry Foote. They've always had solid guys on defense. Troy Polamalu, like we talked about, Ike Taylor. They've always had some dogs on that side of football, and that's Mike Tomlin's forte. He was a defensive backs coach before he got the job in Pittsburgh. Over 15 years ago. About 15 years ago. So I definitely see them, trying to find a replacement for Bud Dupree, whether it be later in the draft, or they may have a guy in their works right now, that young guy that essentially that they're developing, that could do some things. Obviously, T.J. Watt's going to draw a lot of double teams, so whoever's on that other side is going to get some opportunities to show out and make some plays. So whoever that is, it's a big time opportunity for them to show out and have an impact on that defense. I think they're still fine. The defensive line is still good. Devin Bush should be coming back that was a big loss for them as well. They lost him in the middle of the season. He was kind of their quarterback on the defensive end, fast sideline to sideline guy, a little undersized, kind of like Devin White. It reminds me a lot of him and Devin White have similar skill sets. They move sideline to sideline. So
gotta post this one for CJ, bro. Have to. Oh wait, hold on, wrong one.
Oh yeah, bro. 7 in a row, man. 7 in a row.
Next season, they back, baby.
Playing good ball, man. Just gotta stay consistent. But so I think Pittsburgh. They're gonna be good. They're gonna be good for Claypool. Me and EJ, we was talking about Claypool. We had like a little draft show last year on YouTube. It was calm, bro. It wasn't even like too crazy, but I just like went on YouTube and just streamed it, and like me and EJ and a couple of other guys. He was like, "Yo, bro, someone needs to get Claypool." And then like that Friday or Saturday, it was like, "Oh, nobody's gonna pick him up." And then when Pittsburgh picked him up, I was like, "Yeah, bro, that's a good pickup. That's a good pickup for them. They need that big body wide receiver that can make some plays." And he showed out. First half of the season, he played well, made some big time plays. I think he can have a breakout season, man. I think he could be one of those type of receivers that could draw double teams and get guys like Deontay Johnson and Juju to have more one-on-ones on their side of the football. So looking for him to improve in a year or two.
That's calm, Matt. It's calm, bro.
Yeah.
At New York, bro. Come on.
Thanks.
You want me to say howdy? You from Texas? You in Texas right now? Maybe it'll go over better, y'all.
Indeed, bro. And then for the record, I'm gonna say 9-8. I'm gonna say 9-8. Just because again, like the division has gotten better. I think the Bengals will be better. I'm not saying they're gonna be, I think they're just gonna compete. They're gonna be more competitive because they got Burrow now, and depending on what they do with that 5th pick, and Mixon should be healthy. So obviously the Ravens Steelers, one of the all-time rivalries in football over the last 25 years at this point, 2 decades or so. And then the Browns are here now too, and I'm pretty sure they want to respond to the the beatdown that they had against them. And I think it was in Pittsburgh too, right? No, was it in Pittsburgh or was it in? Yeah, well, I think it was in Pittsburgh, right? When they lost to Cleveland in the wild card game.
I thought it was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it was in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure the Steelers, they want to come out this season coming up and then answer to that. They got a little rivalry going. Claypool, said some things about the Browns, so I like that rivalry too. I think the AFC North, man, it's gonna be some fun matchups. Definitely some must-see TV, and the Steelers, they don't play it. Their identity is still the same. So I'll say 9-8, 10-7 range. They still have a good enough quarterback to be able to win them, 7 to 8 games, and that 6 to 7 games, and then that defense, the Browns is the Browns. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And then Claypool was like they're gonna get rocked by the Chiefs the week after. So yeah, it's a little nasty. It's a little nasty over there. So my guys, it's good, brother. How you doing, Perry? It's good, bro.
I feel like I love that division only because I feel like they're still low key like old school. Like they really just don't mess with each other. Like none of the teams. Like we obviously saw the Bengals rock Juju. The Steelers Ravens is always good. The Browns are actually good now, so maybe they'll be getting into some scraps with people. Hey, we're having good times now.
That's a fact, man. Smash mouth football. That's why I like that division. So yeah, I'll say 9-8 for Pittsburgh. All right, let's transition to Baltimore. And it's funny too. Eric DaCosta, GM, came out, talked about wide receiver position. He said we believe in our wide receivers, and no one like should be questioning the wide receiver position
for the Ravens.
Yeah, thought that was a little funny. Maybe. I mean, obviously, that's what everybody's been talking about. So maybe he might have took a little ego hit to DaCosta. What was your reactions to last season? Why? I mean, I'm still gonna ask it. Why haven't they found a wide receiver in Baltimore, a number one guy in Baltimore? I mean, he could fill a way, but it's cool. Should the Ravens extend Lamar? this year or wait? Will the defense take a step back after losing Judon and some other pieces to Judon to New England and some other pieces in free agency in the offseason? What does Lamar need to improve on for Baltimore to go to the Super Bowl? And what's your record prediction?
Yeah, the Ravens were another team that was kind of, they finally got that monkey off the shoulder of, not winning a playoff game, I guess. I mean, well, actually, I guess more Lamar, because that's what people always, they always put it on the quarterback no matter what. So yeah, they won that playoff game, and then obviously they lost to the Bills in the next matchup, but they played pretty well, I would say. I think that they're still going to be up there. I think it's going to come down to them and the Browns, basically, for the division. So, and last year was weird as well for them, because I mean they played a game where they literally had every single person was a backup. Like this man RG3 was out there starting against the Steelers too. Like it wasn't, some no-name team. Like they were playing the Steelers with like literally practice squad players. Yep. So, you could have probably thrown on a win in that game, because I think the Steelers barely won that. I think that was the game where everybody was kind of like, whoa. I think maybe the Steelers aren't as good as we thought. But, yeah, so, I mean, last year is kind of what you expected. I believe they won the division. No, the Steelers did. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they still make the playoffs. I believe that they were the 5th seed now that I'm thinking about it. So, it's what you expected them in the playoffs. Lamar played well during the regular season and everything like that. It's a solid year. It's what you want from the Ravens, and they'll probably be back again doing the exact same thing. Listen, that wide receiver comment, really? Are we going to sit here and lie now? Are we going to lie that they got a number one wide receiver all of a sudden? Hollywood Brown. And here's the thing too. I was all in on the Hollywood Brown bandwagon. He put on like 20 pounds of muscle in that offseason, but he was still running the same. I was like, bro, Marquise Brown is about to go crazy this year. I drafted him in a couple fantasy leagues. Yeah, it didn't happen. Definitely did not happen. You can tell that. I mean, they're such a run-centric team, obviously, with having Lamar. They had Mark Ingram there last year, who obviously isn't there anymore. I can't think of the running back right now, the rookie that they had.
J.K. Dobbins.
Yes, Dobbins obviously drafted him. So, they're going to stick with the run game. I think that's what they do best, obviously. I'm kind of interested to see what they do with Brown. They haven't traded him, right, yet? The tackle?
I don't think so.
Yeah, and I know that, there was some chatter about him getting traded. So you kind of got to see if they repaired that relationship, or if they do trade him, are they obviously going lineman in the draft? So at least it wasn't as bad as saying MVP Wentz for MVP last year. I think Wentz was the MVP, and I think everybody else around him was the LVP, which made him not good. Okay, bam, beautiful. That's how I get myself out of it. But yeah,
good save there.
I try. I've always been good at talking my way out of things. Ask any teacher I've ever had. But I think I don't know, they got to find a wide receiver. I thought that maybe they would be a team that was a candidate to trade up to try to get a wide receiver. I know that the wide receiver class is deep, so maybe you don't want to do that, but I don't know. I was very surprised they didn't make a bigger push for Galladay or Marvin Jones. I don't know why they haven't brought in Antonio Brown yet. That one doesn't make sense to me.
It's crazy. Like,
you literally have his cousin on the team. I know, and listen, as much as we want to say about him, he showed he could behave last year. Like, there was nothing that went wrong on the Bucs. He came in, did his job, and left. He got his ring, said, "Good looks, Tom," and obviously hasn't re-signed with the Bucs yet. I know he was on their IG telling him to do it, but
I could see him getting picked up after the draft.
Yeah, probably
by any team.
Depending on maybe if a team misses out on a wide receiver they say, hey, AB's still out on the market, and go and pick him up. But yeah, they got to find the number one guy. Like, listen, And, I'll kind of transition it into the Lamar point. I'm not the biggest Lamar believer. I've made that known. The accuracy still kind of scares me. And I know that obviously running quarterbacks are the wave right now. They're the future and everything like that. But running quarterbacks still scare me as well. Because, and I know it's not the same as basketball, but it brings me to that. Like, once you lose your athleticism, what are you? And if you're not a great pocket quarterback who is looking to run, after the play breaks, kind of like Russell Wilson.
Right.
I think Russell Wilson is the standard.
Yes, yeah.
He is a great pocket quarterback who will run when the play breaks down, which is very often because the offensive line is terrible. And as I did say, he has reached his peak. I did say that about Lamar. You're not wrong. I said that about Lamar.
How?
I think that MVP year was his peak.
He hasn't even developed as a passer. So you think he's peaked as a passer already?
Yes.
Wow. With no wide receiver, like you just said?
Listen, even when people are open, I feel it's just a dub.
That's a fair point.
I said this. He's a way more fun to watch than athletic Cam Newton. Cam never developed into a passer. Obviously, we saw that.
Jeez.
But yeah, I think Lamar is obviously very good, and I feel like people take it wrong when I say he's reached his peak. Like, he won an MVP. Like, if that's your peak, congratulations. You won a freaking MVP. Obviously, he can get better, in the passing world. Maybe if they do get that number one wide receiver, because like we said, or like I'm going to say, it helped Josh Allen a lot. Josh Allen was not known as, the most accurate guy in the world. And then all of a sudden gets Stephon Diggs, who's one of the best wide receivers in football, and wasn't literally, I still say he was my MVP last year just because I like being right about things. And I always said that Josh Allen was good. So, maybe they get him that number one wide receiver. And, oh, wow, speaking of Josh Allen, I'm looking at ESPN right now, watching it on TV. Bill's GM said there's no rush on the Josh Allen extension. Interesting. But yeah, if Lamar peaked, he peaked. And that's what I think. I could be wrong. I could be right. I guess we're going to find out in a few years, but excuse me. I want to see him with that number one wide receiver before I, set it in stone, but I think that this is his level, and I'm still a little scared of what his career turns into when he loses his legs, as he gets older. We haven't seen it yet, and thankfully, obviously, an injury yet. So, if one of those things happen, because, if you're a running quarterback, I don't care if you're sliding or not, you're going to end up taking a hit eventually.
Of course, yeah.
And when that happens, it's about how you react to it. And, if you have a lower body injury, if that affects everything. And obviously this is the extreme, but we talked about Alex Smith before, who could run, suffers that terrible injury. And like I said, I know this is an extreme, but obviously couldn't, be as mobile as he was when he came back with Washington. So you got to hope, there's no RG3 situation as well. That's probably a better example, with the ACLs and everything like that. So I like Lamar for the next few years. And then after that, I kind of want to see where his passing's at. I said he reached his peak, but listen, I'm not, Notre Dame out here, so I could be wrong. It doesn't happen very often, but I could be wrong. You said something? Oh, their defense without Judon. Listen,
yeah.
Shout out the Ravens for giving us Judon. Big props, appreciate you. They're kind of like the Steelers in a way. Like, I know they lost a nice piece with Judon on the defense, but is it bad that I'm not really that worried? I just feel like the Ravens in defense is peanut butter and jelly. It's together. It's all the time. Like, it just makes sense to me that they're not going to be like, I'll never think of the Ravens and be like, they're going to have like a bottom 30 defense. Like, that's just not going to happen. So, it obviously stings a little bit, but you lose people all the time. It's about who's up next, as everybody says, now I can't think of the term.
Next man up.
Yes, thank you, Jesus. Next man up. So it's about that. See what they do in the draft, and then for record predictions that last, I get everything. I probably, I got the Browns at 13-4. So you know what? I'll go 12-5 then. I'll go 12-5. I think they lose the division by like a game.
I can see that. Last year, they went 6-5 last year. And then they went on that 5-game win streak where it was looking a little shaky for the Ravens. A lot of people were questioning Lamar. The red flags were in the air. They were in the air last year when they were 6-5, and the defense stepped up. Lamar stepped up. They went back, running the ball at a top 10 level, top 5 level, and they figured it out. Got that first playoff win against Tennessee, who they have a nice little rivalry with as well. I mean, they've had some rivalries. They've had some battles back Eddie George and Ray Lewis days, but now it's starting to come back again, which I think is very healthy. Two teams that have similar identities as a team, so I like that. And then played against the Bills. It was kind of close, and then Lamar made the wrong read, and I'm forgetting the DB's name. I think it was Johnson. Took it to the crib, and that kind of sealed the deal. And then Lamar went out with the concussion, and it was kind of GG's after that. But they need a wide receiver. That's for me. Like we just talked about, I think AB could potentially be an option there for them. Maybe after the draft, they should take a look at a guy like Rashad Bateman out of Minnesota, big wide receiver, fast guy. I think that'd be perfect for their scheme. I see these analysts are talking about, what a number one guy work in that scheme. I don't see why not. With the run game, you have to bring that safety down in the box. So
and Mark Andrews over the middle. Come on,
Mark Andrews in the seam, so you have to account for him as well. So that's going to be that's going to be a multitude of one-on-ones for that number one guy. If that guy is the guy, should be able to be his man and get open. I don't think Lamar's reached his peak because again, we haven't seen him play with a Pro Bowl wide receiver at all. Willie Snead, Hollywood Brown. Right, exactly. Can't even remember anyone else. So
sheesh.
Sheesh. Those guys are like, I like Hollywood. I think he could be a good 2, maybe 3. But that's what it looks like right now. He could improve, of course. He's still young, but right now he looks like a 2 or a 3. Willie Snead's like a 4. So that's who he was throwing to on the outside. So if they could get a guy like an AB, we'll see if Bateman turns out to be a really good guy if they draft him. Then I think that's going to help him tremendously. It's going to help him make better reads as a passer, and it's just going to make their offense more dynamic as well. Because then you don't just have to. Then if you load up the box, if you try to load up the box, they could go over the top, and if they keep going over the top like that, like we saw during this MVP season, then they could just run the ball and then kill you if you're in a nickel or dime situation defensively. So. I feel like that offense hasn't even reached the full potential yet. So I think, does Lamar need to improve as a passer? Yeah, absolutely. Still young, still 23, which is crazy. It's just crazy to think about. He's still a young
Burrow's
guy.
older than him.
Exactly. Yeah, Burrow's older than him. He really has. As I'm saying, like I don't understand how you say he reached his peak. He's not even 25. But I mean, it's fair. It's a fair argument. You're just going off what you see so far. He does need to work. Does need to clean up some things in the pocket. Sometimes his throwing motion gets out of whack sometimes, but I think that'll come with time. That could also come with again having a guy out on that outside that could make those type of plays that could make up for some of the things that he's not great at in terms of throwing the ball. You can't tell me Josh Allen threw every great throw to Stephon Diggs, every single pass. A lot of it was Stephon Diggs making some pretty miraculous catches as well. So. We'll see what Baltimore does. I mean, this is the time to get that guy. I mean, you're still not paying Lamar a boatload of money, so I mean, it would behoove them to be able to get somebody on the outside and make plays for them. I completely agree with you in terms of the defense. Just like Pittsburgh, they figure it out. They always draft a guy that we never even heard of. Like you remember Matthew Judon in college, right? That's what I'm saying.
No, I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know about Matthew Judon until my friend became obsessed with him because on Madden we all made theme teams, and he made a Ravens theme team, and he got Matthew Judon, and we just always talk about him because his intro on a Sunday Night Football game was "Bodied by Taco Bell."
Yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like they develop these guys. They develop defensive players extremely well. So they're gonna find somebody to fill that void in terms of edge rushing standpoint and run stopping standpoint as well. So I'm not too worried about that. Prediction, I see 12-5. I can see 12-5 for them just because it's just even though they don't have that guy on the outside, the way they play is still going to be tough for teams on a Sunday night basis to be able to stop, man. Smash mouth football, because Lamar is just he's that extra running back. So it's like you have to be extremely disciplined as a defense, because if you're not, if you miss one read, if you miss one angle, he could go 60. Dobbins could go 60, 70 to the crib. So it's a dangerous, and they control the clock. And they make you tired. And when the fourth quarter comes along, the defense is tired. They're tired. They're tired of getting hit in the mouth every single snap. And so they're going to continue to wear on teams every single Sunday. So they're always going to be in that 10 to 12 win range, as long as they got number 8 on the center. I can see 12-5 for Baltimore, and then it just becomes postseason success. I want to see him get a W on Mahomes, in the regular season, and maybe potentially in the postseason. I want to see him be able to do that. Get over those. Got the playoff win. Now it's time to go on a playoff run.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, I know that's it, but I got one more thing because I want to know if you saw this. Did you see the little Patrick Mahomes Tom Brady exchange on Twitter?
Yeah, I did see that.
The Royals, obviously Kansas City's baseball team, posted a little video. I think it was their catcher Salvador Perez was wearing like a little Mahomes thing, and they said, sometimes words speak louder than actions. And Brady quoted and said, "Nah, I think actions always speak louder than words." And Mahomes came back and said, "I guess we'll see in 20 years." There's a little friendly banter back and forth. I like it. Listen, Mahomes, you ain't gonna be the GOAT though.
Yeah, bro.
TB7, bro.
It would. Listen, bro. We'll be in our 40s, late 30s, God willing, by that time. So, I don't.
Back in my day, I was watching Tom Brady.
Yeah, I don't see anybody getting 7 Super Bowls, bro.
No.
I'm not gonna hold you. That's I don't see it, bro.
Nah.
It's not a series. It's not like it's a 3-game, 5-game Super Bowl series. Anything can happen in that game. Like I said, nobody thought the Buccaneers would do that to the Chiefs. If anything, people thought it'd be a shootout. Everybody thought it'd be a shootout. They didn't think it'd be a blowout. The other way. So, like I said, that guy, bro, I don't see it, man. If he gets 4 or 5, could he get 3 or 4? Yeah, but then a lot of people thought Rodgers was going to get 3, 4, or 5, and he still got 1. So, and we don't know. Is Mahomes dominating the AFC right now? Yes, but we don't know who's going to come along in the AFC. It could be Lawrence. Could potentially put the Jaguars on the map in a couple of years.
People are going to get older eventually.
Yeah, Lamar's still there. Allen's right there. They just played them in the AFC Conference Championship game. We don't know what these younger quarterbacks going to look like. They could potentially, he could go up against en route to get into these Super Bowls. So, it's not a. I see all these analysts are like, "Yo, he's gonna have 3 or 4. You could book it." I'm like, all right. It's obviously they're the best team right now. Of course, he's the best. To me, he's the second best quarterback in the NFL. So it's very, it's very possible that he could definitely get a multitude of rings. But again, they could easily be one of these guys in the draft right now. That could get it. He could get in the way and stop him from getting these, 4, 5, 6. Like I said, what Brady's doing, 7 out of 10. Come on.
That's the other thing too. Like
70%, bro. Half of your career you're in the bowl. Come on.
That was the other thing, dude. Did you see Brady's tweet that was like, "My career is officially old enough to drink"?
So I'm saying, bro,
21 years, bro.
Come on.
Unless Mahomes eating that avocado ice cream now, you never know. You never know. Listen, Matt, calm down. Yankees are bad right now. They won tonight, though. That's all that matters. LeBron does wish he was Brady. I'm not gonna.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I wish I was Brady too. I mean, shit, come on. But with that being said, I think that's all we got, CJ, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll shout out the sponsors one more time, and then we'll head on out of here. So if you are into the betting world, make sure you go over to mybookie.ag and use code USN100. Like I said before, it doubles your first deposit up to $1,000. Listen, you can bet on the NFL draft. You can bet on who goes second, third, fourth. You can bet who the first offensive lineman is off the board, who the first wide receiver is, who the first running back is. Hey, bet until your heart desires. Just don't go broke and blame me, okay? But with that being said, next up we got Rxhemp, Rxhemp-USN will save you 10% on your entire order. They got the pain relief CBD creams. So, maybe you got a long day at work hitting the gym like your boy has been recently, the come-up season.
Summer, right?
Get a little Rxhemp. You won't feel sore in the morning. So make sure you go check them out. Rxhemp-USN, 10% off that entire order. That is on top of deals too, as well. So if they got a little 20% off on something, then use our code. You get an extra 10. You're welcome. Next up, we have the Teespring Store. Teespring.com/store/unwrapped. That is the home for all of our merch. The network has merch, obviously the Unwrapped Sports Network, and then if there is a show on the live lineup that you like and you would wish to support them, go and check out their merch, kind of like this one, the Hard Count. Go check it out. Put some real money in the pockets, okay? And then finally, we got the Patreon, $1. You're just supporting the squad, $5. You get access to our Discord. You get 10% off that store I was just telling you about, and you also get entered into an Amazon gift card giveaway. And then the $10, here's everything I just said, except the 10% discount goes to $20, and you get entered in to our signed memorabilia giveaway. We have posted it. It is oh my gosh, I just had a stroke. It is on the Unwrapped Sports Instagram. So if you want to go and check out the Ricky Williams signed mini helmet, make sure you go and check it out. But thank you, Matt. Appreciate the love as always. Matt's over there on the YouTube side. Make sure everybody goes and subscribes to the Unwrapped YouTube channel as well. But I'll throw over CJ, of course, for all his plugs, and then we'll head on out.
Yes, sir. Twitch, CJ versus the World. If you want to add me on Xbox, CJames9. Just got I think the show should be downloaded now. So.
Oh, you got it on the box?
Yeah, I got it on the box. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Shout out the Game Pass. Looking out for the kid. Garda podcast. And then yeah, man. Definitely look out next week. We'll give you guys more details. We're gonna do a live draft on next Thursday throughout the draft. We're gonna have some people, just chill vibes, talking football. Connie and I just gonna chop it up, man. Talk about our teams, and it should be fun, man. Look out for that. More info on the way.
Yes, sir. As for me, you guys know what it is by now. Mondays is Generational Sports, 7 Eastern. Obviously, check that out. Me and Josh talk about a little bit of everything. Me and CJ do this every Tuesday at 9. Everything in the football world, we got you covered. And then Thursday, I do Backstop Banter with Michael, talking everything in the baseball world. So make sure you go check that out as well. Obviously, the season's underway. A lot of storylines going on right now in the baseball world, so go check it out. Twitch is Anthony_Conover. I put all the pods there, maybe doing a little bit of gaming once I get better at the show. Because let me tell you something, that first 2 days I played it because I was
crying, bro.
I got the early access. Let me tell you, whee! It's been a tough life out here. It's been 8 years since I played a baseball game.
So, yeah, that new pitching system is different, so I gotta get in the lab.
Bro, 8 years since I played a baseball game. Bro, you could have thrown me a pitch that bounced at the plate. I still would have swung at it. So it was a tough life for a little bit. But, yeah, probably going to be streaming some MLB The Show. Obviously, put all the pods up on there. And then Gen Z Sports for the one show. And then Anthony __ for the personal Twitter. Put all my sports thoughts on there as well. So, great show as always, CJ. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Matt, thank you for always being active in the comments. Much love. But with that being said, we're out of here. We'll see you guys next week, probably during the draft. Because, right, CJ, I think we're going to, move the show from the Tuesday and we'll just move it to draft day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look out for that, guys. More info.
Yes, sir. We will make sure everybody has info on that. And actually, before we go, like I said, the USN mock draft is tomorrow. I believe we're starting it at like 9:00. We got all a bunch of people in the USN fam. We're gonna play the GM role. Your boy got the Patriots and the Bills, so I'll be making big moves out here. So make sure you go check that out tomorrow night. That is Wednesday at 9, and then obviously we're gonna do a little draft day stream. But thank you everybody for pulling up to the show. Appreciate you, and we will see you both. We'll see you all next week.
Yes, sir.